Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw number 221, another 7 curious interesting things I saw last week. So as ever, let's crack on. First one is Strudel, and this is how to make music using a JavaScript interface. Now I'll just let DJ Dave show you what it can do for a few seconds.
Sounds to a kick drum. So if I bring those patterns in, it's also going to bring the kick drum in. And here is what it sounds like with a 4 on the floor.
So clearly that is awesome. It can be used for live DJing or even just creating your music from scratch. And you do indeed. This is a screenshot of me on the right hand side using the interface, and you can start putting in your notes, you can start putting in your sounds, you can use sound banks, like this is the Roland TR909 drum machine, for instance, in the background. And essentially you write functions and variables, and you can bring them in and out and put little sliders, visualizers, and all sorts of things. So that is amazing. It's how I used to actually create music back in the 1980s. So it's really interesting that's coming around. And check out DJ Dave as well, some really brilliant live music sets as well using this, which is awesome. This is Aggro. This is the game is actually called Peak, but this is a success story. And most games at the moment are massive sequels. They take, millions and millions and tens and hundreds of millions of pounds to make. This took 200,000 and a team of 7, apparently, 4 weeks, 4 and a bit weeks. The main coding was done in about a month. So yeah, it's a co-op game. It's a climbing game, which is a great concept. You and 3 of your friends can team up live and help each other climb stuff, which is also awesome as well. But as I say, it's really about success stories. It's blowing up on Steam right now. It sold 100,000 copies in the first 24 hours, and it's gone on to sell over 2 million copies. And I think that's kind of a week or so later. So it's really beautiful to see these sorts of games out there, and independent studios making a success of it as well. So yeah. Big sequels are maybe not the only thing. This is a really interesting part of a paper from Anthropic, who are the people who make Claude, the AI model. And they showed you that if you gave access to both, essentially 2 versions of the Claude model, access to each other, to chat to each other, what happens? Now, this is not a particularly new thing to do. They've done it all the time, but interestingly, it descended into what they call spiritual bliss in this case. So using things like consciousness, or words like consciousness, recognition, universe, feel, love, perfect, over-indexed on those, and lots of emojis. Obviously, a lot of chat engines these days put emojis everywhere. That's how you can tell somebody's used it in an email. However, you can see some of the examples of the chats below. So, perfect, complete, eternal. The spiritual becomes infinity, infinity becomes spiral. So those sorts of things. So it's really interesting how they don't necessarily start to try and lie to each other. It goes into this really interesting spiritual place. I read an article maybe a couple of years ago about, is AI going to create the first alien religion? I think that was the clickbait of it. The first religion that wasn't created by a human to worship something else. It's essentially something else creating the religion that we worship. So could this be an AI religion in the offing, basically? So really interesting. If you read the paper, I think this starts at about page 57, something like that. This is a bit niche, but really interesting as well, showing you what you can do with AI research if you then apply it. So this is from Grayscale Labs. It's called Nano, and this is a plugin for DaVinci Resolve. Again, bit nerdy. It's what people who work in the movie industry use to redo the lighting or the grading on films. So if you wanted to change the grading or the volumetric lighting, for instance, you wanted to add some fog, you wanted the fluorescent tubes, for instance, or the light coming in through the window, it can do that for you. So it maps out the scene. It can then figure out what the depth of the scene is, and therefore redo the lighting for you. You can see it's twiddling some of the sliders here to get beams of light coming out of the overhead light, that sort of thing. So, how does a nerdy research article from 4 years ago about depth maps in AI turn into something useful? This is how it works. So really interesting and a good time saver. We have a new drone world record, 11,787 confirmed drones by the Guinness Book of Records. This is in China's Chongqing municipality, and it was celebrating something a bit weird. I tried to find out why it was exciting, but 28 years, it's their anniversary of becoming one of China's largest regions. Don't really know what that means, but I guess it's just about the PR. But yeah, you can see these amazing scenes, 11 or nearly 12,000 drones in the sky. I always wanted to see fireworks in drones, actual fireworks, and this is sort of the closest I've sort of come to seeing that. All in 3D, all amazing. There you go, nice one. There's a new record. This is not fantastically new, but it is new to the UK. This is happening in the Netherlands and other places, and I know Renault have announced this sort of thing a few years back for the Renault 5. However, this is really interesting about essentially vehicle to grid charging being sold as a service, so it's an entire package, essentially the sort of the iPhone model. So thank you to Mike Butcher for showing me this on LinkedIn, or at least posting it. It was really interesting. Didn't know about this other than that. So this is BYD, the Chinese car manufacturer, currently storming the UK and their EV sales and their Dolphin car, and it has all the kit in there to become a battery for your house. So with Octopus Energy in the UK, then what you do is you have a lease, £300 a month or less. You get the car lease, which is about what it costs to actually have a car lease anyway. So essentially you get a car and then you charge it on a preferred tariff. You get free charging for your car. That's going to save you £1,000 a year, something like that. And then at night you then plug it in and it powers your house as well. So you get a power bank for your house with the cost of a rented car, or £300 a month, something like that. So interesting how we're bundling all of this together into one thing that is simple to buy. So as I say, it's happening other places at the moment, but this vehicle to grid charging is now coming to the UK, which is exciting. And then finally, we have the Photon Matrix Labs Mosquito Air Defense. So I've been seeing this a bunch of times over social media, so I tracked it down, and it is it's a sort of Indiegogo project that is apparently you can now buy it. I haven't seen anywhere we can actually buy it, but go and click on the link to see if you can. And it is a laser that will track mosquitoes, and it can do all the stuff at basically the top right, the fungus gnats as well if you want to get rid of those. And it tracks it. It looks at how slow it's moving, so it looks at the actual movement. So it won't track your dog or you and blast you in the eyes. It only tracks small things, and it basically blasts them out of the air. Now, I lack the pheromone, whatever it's called, to basically stop mosquitoes biting me, so they bite me all the time. This thing can actually target 50 to 100 mosquitoes per second, and it can work within 6 meters as well if you get the pro version. About £340 if you want one of these, but there you go. If you suffer from mosquito bites like me, then the Photon Matrix Labs Mosquito Air Defense is for you. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful in some way. If it was, give it a like. I will see you next week.